Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of League Chat with the Stat. Thank you again for joining me this week on what was another crack around the football. I'm your man Stat, and round 19 has come and gone. Now you can see I'm a lot happier, and I have a celebratory iced tea with me. I'm sure you guys know exactly why. We're going to get straight into that. And the Bulldogs are finally off the bottom of the ladder. We recorded a 26-16 point win over the South Sydney Rabbitohs. And it's just amazing. 1 week in the NRL is a very long time. Just the week before, the Rabbitohs were beating Tigers 20-0 within the first 25-30 minutes. And it just so happened to be that the next week, the Bulldogs had them up 20-0 in the first 25 minutes. But, yeah, just crazy. I mean, it was a big night for the Bulldogs, especially for Josh Jackson. He played his 200th game for the club. And he was monumental in that game. He could 2 or 3 decent try savers on Cameron Murray really stood out to me. And he really deserved that. We deserved to get that win. We worked hard all night. To set that 20-0 lead was good. I just thought that the Rabbitohs were very clunky in the beginning. I thought they took us not too serious, I reckon. I think what happened there where they just kind of went off the bat with it and just thought, you know what? It's the Bulldogs, they're running last. You know, we can take us a step back and take it easy a little bit. And they copped it. Now, don't get me wrong, it wasn't without controversy that they got back into the game. Obviously, with Jackson Paulo's try in the corner, with his foot going out before grounding the ball. Wasn't happy with that call. Now, obviously, the whole weekend I was blowing up about it and telling everyone how angry I was about it. But Graham Annesley came out yesterday, and as you guys may have watched the review or not, you may have watched that. He came out and he played the audio, and when he played the audio, he mentioned that the Henry Perenara in the box was actually saying no, like don't make the call, but he couldn't hear him, and the call was already made. So, look, that took it away from the game. There was a couple of rubbish calls as well. I mean, Jaden Sewer's high tackle on Lachlan Lewis to be called knock on and to be reported. I thought it was ridiculous. Lachlan Lewis was slipping in the tackle, and Sewer just collected him, not on purpose. I thought it was a great hit. To be sent off sin bin for 10 as well, I thought it was garbage. I thought it was ridiculous. But look, some highlights for me, don't want to get all negative, is that the Bulldogs are now 15th and not 16th. With Brisbane losing as well, we are now off the bottom of the ladder, which is exciting. Now, Jake Averillo is actually playing very good football in 5/8. The last 2 games he's played, he's had a few try assists, and has been really damaging with the ball. I know that he injured his quad about 45 minutes into that game. But he carried on through, and although his running ability was limited, he still played phenomenal. And as I said, the Bulldogs held on and did well enough to obviously win that game. Had we lost that game, it would have been like another week, another Bulldogs performance. But glad to have gotten this win and for them to have held on, which was good to see. But yeah, Rabbitohs were nowhere near their best. They were pretty dreadful, in my opinion. Wayne Bennett blowing up and not having it. Now, I know that he told the players in the sheds, just go have your showers. I see he's at training. Didn't want to talk to him about it. Didn't want to have a bar of it. Wasn't ready to kind of dish out all the yelling that he was wanting to dish out. But look, the players stood out for me. As I said, Jake Averillo was phenomenal at 5/8. I thought Aidan Tolman's best game in a few years. 24 runs, 232 metres, 101 post-contact metres, a tackle break and 46 tackles. And Josh Jackson, as I said, 16 runs, 151 metres, 69 post-contact metres, a line break assist. 33 tackles and 2 of those phenomenal try savers. And look, for his 200th game, he was fantastic, and it was good to get the win for him, and good to see that the Bulldogs are no longer 16th, which is about time. The Panthers 32 defeating the Cowboys 12. Penrith go 14 straight. They're playing unbelievable football, these Penrith Panthers. They rested a few stars as well. They had James Tarmo, they had Apisai Coruscant, and they had Zane Dedavano missing in that game against the Cowboys. And they're still playing phenomenal football. As I said, they had their main men there. But I thought, Mitch Kenny's 60 tackles was phenomenal in defence. And he played a decent role in attack as well. Did enough and did his part just to get Nathan Cleary and Jerome Luai the ball when he needed to, for them to be able to create those opportunities. But yeah, the Cowboys, again, weren't good. They tried to have a bit of a fight back in that second half. But yeah, it wasn't good enough from them. They were missing... Josh McGuire for that suspension, and they were missing John Asiata as well. But, look, Jason Tamalolo came back and had a successful return in his comeback from a calf injury, played 40 minutes, had about 11 runs for 124 metres and 50 post-contact metres with a tackle break in a 39-minute stint. So, wasn't terrible from him. But, look, I think he wasn't going to be playing 80 anyway, just trying to get him back from injury. But, yeah, look, Cowboys, they're not good enough. Again, they were exposed in every area, in attacking and defence. But, look, the standout for me, Viliami Kikau. That was probably one of his best games all season. 2 tries, 15 runs, 180 metres, 2 line breaks, 9 tackle breaks, 2 offloads, and 21 tackles, and a beast performance from Viliami Kikau. And the highlight to take for the Cowboys, Ruben Cotter, 61 tackles. Big defensive effort from both nines, with Kenny 60 tackles and Cotter 61 tackles. So, good efforts from them. But, yeah, Panthers finally officially claiming themselves as the minor premiers for 2020, which was good to see, and they will celebrate that next week against the Bulldogs. So, Penrith 32 defeating the Cowboys 12. Eagles 26 defeating the Broncos 12 at Bankwest on Friday night. It took a while for Parramatta to kind of click into gear with their attack. I thought they were very clanky at times, and they would definitely need to get that polished up right before the final series. But, yeah, look, I thought they did enough to hold on. They got out to a bit of a decent lead. But again, Brisbane weren't the best. But I feel like they've been playing a lot better football under Peter Gentle, their current assistant, than they were under Anthony Seibold. I just feel like that the side that they've got at the moment, with obviously its limited abilities, what they have, and a lot of injuries. But I do like Peter Gentle has done a remarkable job. Obviously, his coaching record is probably disastrous because of it, but he's done a phenomenal job given the circumstances as well. So I just wanted to shout a bit of praise out to Peter Gentle. But yeah, Broncos couldn't catch a break in the first minute. The first run, Marcus Evo destroyed Tyson Gamble, and it just ruined him for the rest of the game. He didn't come back, and he won't be playing this week, which is disappointing. But yeah, look, I thought the bunker again very painful. Especially, I thought Henry Perenara's refereeing on Friday night was a little bit ludicrous as well. That play where Parramatta ran down to the right-hand side and Gutherson batted the ball back to, I believe it was Ferguson. I could be wrong. But I believe it was Ferguson, and they called it a knock-on. I just didn't feel why the bunker couldn't step in and announce a try. I feel like we're limiting the bunker with all the resources we have. We're limiting them to make those decisions. But I could say the same for the Bulldogs game, where Jackson Paulo scored in the corner as well. But yeah, there was a few dramas with the bunker this weekend. And yeah, with Friday nights, I thought it wasn't good enough. I didn't even like the fact that when Henry Perenara called Gutherson in to let him know that he stuffed up, that they couldn't overturn it and make it a try. I thought that was pretty poor, and something that anyone really needs to look into. So, look, nonetheless, Eagles did enough to beat the Broncos. Kane Evans was their standout player. 15 runs, 154 metres, and offload and 23 tackles off the bench. And their soldier for Broncos, Patrick Carrigan, once again, obviously having to play big minutes without Payne Haas there. 19 runs, 146 metres, and 56 tackles in a no mucking around effort there. So, look, credit to the Eagles, as I said. They have a lot of work to do. They could potentially drop out of the top 4 this week as well, and they need to be a lot better with the finals around the corner. The Titans, 42, defeating the Eagles, 24. Just when you thought that Brookvale Oval was the fortress, it's become a laughingstock for the Manly Sea Eagles. They've won one of their last 7 games at Brookvale, and it's become a joke how many games they've let slip at Brookvale. For the Titans, but nothing but praise for them. 4 wins on the trot. I believe they were too fast and way too skillful for the Sea Eagles. That 6-again rule has not benefited Manly all season, and we could definitely tell with some of the tries that they scored. Now, the Titans, as I said, they're building nicely for next year. They've got a lot of good things going for them, especially with those forwards coming in next year and exploring different opportunities for players that are coming off contract as well. So they're starting to build with what they've got at the moment. They're playing some good football. They're enjoying each other's company. Ash Taylor's playing phenomenal football as well. Jamal Fogarty, a great addition to the side from the Burleigh Bears. The one thing I wanted to talk about from the game was Tom Trbojevic. I really feel for the guy, man. I mean, he has been out since round 6 with that shocking hamstring injury, and he came back, and obviously he was going to be a little bit hesitant coming back. He wasn't going to punch out 250 metres and try assists and tries and line break assists galore. You know, he was going to obviously ease into it. But this is what frustrated me. He obviously, when he missed that tackle on AJ Brimson, when Brimson scored his second try, and he went down with that shoulder injury, and I understand him wanting to play on, but what for? Why are you wanting to play on? I don't understand. You got next week and that's it. You're done after next week. I know you got Origin coming up after that, but I thought it was stupid from Manly staff and their coaching staff to keep him on the field. He was more of a liability than he was someone that would actually be relied on. It was way too much of a liability. He made 4 errors. He missed a few tackles. That try that Tremaine Spry scored when Tom Jaworowicz tried to get it with one hand, it just bounced off his arm because he was using his other shoulder. I mean, he's had an injury-riddled year this year, enough as it is, and I didn't see the need for him to be playing on. And yeah, I thought that was a pretty tough call from Tom Jaworowicz to continue to play on. I thought it was pretty stupid from him to wanting to do that, and the coaching staff should have taken him off way earlier than when they did. So that was one thing that frustrated me. But look, the Titans, as I said, they're flying. They're playing some fantastic football. Jared Wallace, who has had kind of an indifferent year, to say the least, the last 5-6 weeks has really stepped up. 16 runs, 136 metres, 3 offloads and 20 tackles, and a pretty solid effort from Jared Wallace. But Curtis Sirinen was the best player for Manly by far. 22 runs, 203 metres, 60 post-contact metres, a line break assist, a try assist, 6 tackle breaks and 4 offloads. A huge effort from Curtis Sirinen, one of his better games in the last few years, and someone that is only going to get better, especially under the coaching and the tutelage of Des Hasler. So, look, Titans 42 defeating the Seagulls 24, and it's good to see some Titans fans that I know. Damien, I know you're watching, and it's good to see you smiling about it, mate. So, it's good there. So, Storm 50 defeating the Tigers 22. Again, another masterclass from Melbourne Storm in attack. Defensively, it's still an issue. 22 points to the Tigers. Bellamy is concerned again with that defense. I thought the Tigers, were pretty woeful. They just couldn't really handle the Storm. But that's been the Tigers all year, hasn't it? They have been pretty woeful. They haven't been up to the standards that Maguire has set for them. And yeah, it's just been one of those years again for Tigers. Another mediocre year. And another year that we're just going to have to see them finish 9th or 10th. So, but look, with the Storm, something to take out of that game. I thought Cameron Smith scoring that try, finally passing Craig Bellamy. I thought that was probably one of the funniest bits of the round for sure. Bit of banter where all the boys were geeing him up and he flipped them the bird. I thought that was pretty funny. There were a lot of people out there that said that it was disrespectful. You know, they shouldn't be doing that. What kind of message does that send out? And yeah, well, I do understand all that and I get it. However, it kind of shows a camaraderie between the teammates and the coach. It kind of shows that they can have a bit of fun at times. You know, Craig Bellamy isn't always screaming at the players and isn't always wanting to throw bottles and swearing off his head all the time. So good to have a little laugh between the players and the coaches. So, which is good to see. But look, as I said, there's nothing in it. People that are complaining about it, let's take it easy a little bit. Let's calm down. But look, back to the game. Nelson Asafa-Solomona, beast. A beautiful performance from him. 19 runs, 193 metres, 70 post-contact metres, 2 tackle breaks, an offload and 26 tackles. Solid effort from Asafa-Solomona. And Zane Musgrove, I thought was a standout for the Tigers. 14 runs, 123 metres, a tackle break and an offload with 19 tackles, I believe. But yeah, look, obviously with the Tigers as well, it was hard losing Josh Aloiai to that knee injury and losing David Norfoluma as well. Both have been cleared from very serious injuries. Thank God for that. But yeah, as I said, that wasn't enough to contain the Storm, who are just flying at the moment and are just really gunning to have a good finish to the year and get ready for finals. The Roosters 34 defeating the Sharks 18. Mitch Orbison's 303rd game for the club. An unreal. He's a champion of the game. He's a champion of the Roosters, and he's just a champion bloke. He's a phenomenal guy, from all reports, and he was sensational. I wish he wasn't retiring, to be quite honest with you. Those 2 tries he scored were fantastic. And look, he himself, I reckon he played a massive part in destroying the Sharks, and it was very hard to ignore from him his effort there. So he played fantastic. Now for the Sharks, I mean, credit to Sean Johnson. I mean, he tried to bring him back when Roosters were trying to create a bit of a lead. Johnson brought them back in the game up until he did his Achilles. So all the best to Sean Johnson with his recovery in the Achilles injury. Losing Royce Hunt as well to that knee injury as well. That patelin, I believe, is what it's called. I could be wrong. But look, I have to say, like, with the Sharks, they spirited on, they played as best as they could. Obviously, losing Johnson and not having Townsend there being suspended. I just thought that, it could have been a lot worse, but they kind of held in as best as they could. But, losing Sean Johnson and Royce Hunt, I reckon Sharks could be out the first week of the finals. I don't see them going really far, especially without Sean Johnson there. I mean, Sean Johnson had 23 try assists this year. It's probably his best year of NRL that he's played in a very long time, especially with the criticism he copped in the beginning of the year. But I thought Joey Manu at fullback for the Roosters was solid. Someone to watch out for if Tedesco ever does get injured long term. But yeah, the standout for me, Joey Manu, as I said, had like 9 tackle breaks, a try assist, line break assist as well. Just it was a solid effort from him at the back and got like 200 meters as well, 198 meters. Lindsay Collins up front was my pick for the Roosters. 15 runs, 165 meters, a tackle break, and 29 tackles. And Scott Sorensen, I thought, was very good for the Sharks. 16 runs, 162 meters, 61 post-contact meters, a tackle break, offload, and 26 tackles. So a very good effort from Scott Sorensen. But yeah, the Sharks do need a lift and need to get their players back on deck as soon as possible. Now, the Raiders 26 defeating the Warriors 14. And this was the craziest half of football I've seen in a very long time. There was a lot of drama. Warriors did well to get under the skin of the Raiders players early on. And I thought they really controlled that first half really well, the Warriors. I thought they kind of set the platform and had the right attitude there to kind of just go out and make it really tough for the Raiders. Now, again, the call on Jack Wyden being sin-binned, I 100% disagree with him being sin-binned for it. I do see that as a penalty for being a foot offside. I can understand that. I don't think it's a sin-bin. And obviously at that time they had Jared Croker off with the HIA, who was going to return within a few minutes, and they had lost George Williams to a concussion as well, and he wasn't returning. So to lose Jack White in there for 10 minutes was very, very bad for the Raiders. But yeah, garbage call from the ref, rubbish call. It was definitely not a sin bin. I can understand that he made the call because of the 2 or 3 penalties that were blown, but look, the Raiders were 7-1 down in the penalty count in that first half. Warriors had a lot of opportunities and scored 14 points out of it. But look, I thought the stand-in 5'8" and halfback, Elliot Whitehead, I thought he was phenomenal stepping in at 5'8" last minute. That try that he set up with that beautiful banana kick for Hudson Young would go down for me as top 5 tries of the year. Having someone as skillful as Elliot Whitehead, the way he kicked it, got the ball back, made a bit of a break, and then did a little banana kick to Hudson Young, I thought was fantastic to watch. But look, the Warriors lost to Vasashek to that hamstring injury as well, which obviously didn't help their case, moving Peter Huku to fullback and whatnot. But look, the Warriors were tough, but the Raiders, did enough to top them there, which was good to see the Raiders fight on. But yeah, not a performance that Ricky Shaw would have been happy with. Joseph Tapine was a standout for me. 18 runs, 156 meters, 78 post-contact meters, 2 tackle breaks, 2 offloads, and 39 tackles. A solid of a 60-odd minute effort from Tapine. And Tohu Harris, my pick again for the Warriors. 15 runs, 168 meters, 77 post-contact meters, and 31 tackles. Another big effort from him. And I thought Peter Hiku scoring those 2 tries for the Warriors as well. He's been playing some really good football, and it's good to see him stick around for another year at the Warriors. And the last game of the round, the Knights 42 defeating the Dragons 18. Now, 30 points to 6 half-time. The Knights just controlled that whole game. That first half, they just destroyed the Dragons. I thought Ponga was fantastic in his return from that rest he had the week before. But I watched the Dragons, and I just think they are just worthless. They are so bad. They don't care. I feel like a lot of them don't care. When Chase Randall made that break in that in the first 5 or 6 minutes for Ponga to score that try, was just weak. It's so weak. They don't care. Good luck to Anthony Griffin going out there and trying to change the culture there, because right now it's just a shambles. Dan Young compared that performance and said that they couldn't even beat the Daptos under 8s. And funny enough, the Daptos under 8s came out and said, yeah, we could actually smash the Dragons. So that's pretty embarrassing. Especially when you have stars like Ben Hunt, who gets paid ridiculous money, Corey Norman, who gets paid ridiculous money, to perform when they don't perform. But look, I thought the only decent players there were Zach Lomax, who scored a double, had about 7 odd tackle breaks. I thought Max Fearguy off the bench making his debut was pretty good. And Cody Ramsey, again, I thought it was solid for the Dragons. They're the only 3 players that were really good, and the rest were nothing. I thought Duffy at times was okay. I didn't think it wasn't too bad at times, but yeah, the rest of them, nothing going for them. But yeah, Knights 42-18. David Clemmer, huge performance. 19 runs, 181 meters, 86 post-contact meters, an offload, and 22 tackles. And his partner in crime, Daniel Saifidi. Try, 17 runs, 175 meters, 82 post-contact meters with a line break and 5 tackle breaks. was a huge effort from him. And as I said, my man Cameron McKenna's 55 tackles for the Saints. Dragons need to be looking forward to 2021 to seeing what Griffin can do with the side. But yeah, they just need a write-off this year. They were just hopeless. It will give the Knights a bit of confidence heading into their match this week against the Titans, which will be preparing them for the finals. So, look, guys, that was the wrap for round 19, the second last wrap that we're going to be doing, obviously with the last round of the regular season being next week. Let's get to news around the NRL world. Now, on the Bulldogs, we have met with John Asiata to potentially try to bring him over to the club as a ball-playing lock. Trent Barrett has met with him and had a few conversations. Eels and Dragons are also interested as well. Corey Waddell signed a 3 deal with the Bulldogs starting next year. We'll take him from Des Hasler and bring him into our club. They have officially confirmed all of the assistant coaches in David Ferner being the assistant coach for the club, and also having Craig Sandercock as well, and the Tongan coach as well, which I'm having a bit of a mind blank and can't remember his name right now. And as well on the Bulldogs, they have confirmed that 8 players will be leaving the club end of the season. Isaiah Tass, Jack Cogger, Suaso Su, Tim Laffey, Marcelo Montoya, Kieran Holland, Kieran Freund and Aidan Tolman have all been told their services will no longer be required as of next year, as the Bulldogs do start their clean-out. Now, Manase Fainu, who hasn't played a lot of football pending his court case, has signed a 2-year extension with the Sea Eagles, turned down some big money offers from the Bulldogs as well to re-sign with the Sea Eagles, who have kept the faith in him. Christian Walsh was fined $20,000 and had $10,000 of that suspended for breaking the COVID bubble and bringing a guest into the bubble. He was still down for last week's game, but will be selected for this week. James Tarmo signed officially for 2 years with the Tigers, which will be a good signing for them. The Redcliffe Dolphins, one of my most interesting news of the week, have put in a $100 million offer to join the National Rugby League in 2022. They've got a stadium that's fully built and ready to go. They have the money there. Peter Vlandis actually mentioned that they are richer than about 10 of the current clubs in the NRL at the moment, so that's something they're really considering happening there and looking to be the 4th team in Queensland as we look to expand the competition. Now, Adam Fanua-Blake has signed a 3-year deal with the New Zealand Warriors, confirming on Instagram before the Warriors announced it. Bit of a goose is Fanua-Blake, but a phenomenal player in his own right, and who will be damaging with Ben Murdoch-Masila and Kane Evans going to the Warriors as well. I believe that, they're going to have a really good forward pack and a smoky for me to be in the top 8 next year. Ricky Stewart was fined $10,000 for comments he made about the referees and Graham Annesley. Obviously being frustrated at that 7-1 penalty count, he was not too happy with the fact that his side was not getting the calls that the Warriors were getting, and has decided that he wanted to go on a bit of a rant, which has cost him $10,000. And he has now been warned, as all the other coaches preparing for the finals, that speaking of the referees will not be tolerated. Tim Glasby, as I mentioned to you guys a few months ago, I broke the news to you guys that he was looking to retire due to repeated concussions. That was made official on Sunday. He's announced his retirement immediately, and he's been medically retired and cleared by the NRL for the Knights to have that salary cap space. And the last bit of news, young Tony Mapea, who has been a decent player for the Titans this year, is exploring his options. He has decided not to re-sign with the Titans. Clubs like the Dragons, the Storm, in Union, the Melbourne Rebels, are looking pretty keen on him. And so are the Broncos. However, Broncos have put a hold on recruitment until they announce their coach, which is between Paul Green and Kevin Walters at this point in time. And last bit, Josh Hannay will leave the Cowboys at the end of the season. The current interim coach for the Cowboys will be looking to take a bit of a break before he decides what to do next in his coaching career. Now, guys, a lot to get through with the round 20 talking points, so let's get straight into it. This is going to be a crazy round, guys. So the Broncos will come up against the Cowboys. Now, this is going to be a game where if the Cowboys win, it'll confirm the wooden spoon for the Broncos in their first time in their history. But let's go through the changes for the Broncos. Katoni Staggs will be starting at 5'8". Tyson Gamble has been dropped out after that head knock last week. And Jesse Arthurs, who hasn't played much this season, will come into the centres. Payne Haas will return after a week off due to personal leave. And that'll move Ben Tia back to the bench and Ethan Bollamott to the reserves. Xavier Coates will start on the wing with Corey Oates being dropped to the bench, being used more of a forward this week as opposed to being used as the back. Jordan Reiki will return from suspension and will take the spot of David Fierro, who is now injured. For the Cowboys, Josh Maguire returns from suspension at prop, and Jason Taumalolo will start at lock, getting through his injury comeback last week, which was good to see. As I mentioned earlier, Corey Jensen and Francis Molo will go back to the bench, as well as John Asiata, with Omre Pere and Ben Condon dropping out. And Gavin Cooper again named to start in his final game for his career. Look, I don't know who to pick this game. Both of the teams are rubbish. If I had to pick one, I want the Cowboys to win so that the Broncos can get the wooden spoon and the Bulldogs will get to avoid it. Having to verse Penrith in the last game of the regular season is daunting. So if Broncos can lose this game and cop their first wooden spoon, that'd be a good laugh, and I'll be able to drink more of these iced teas. So, look, Cowboys for me, I think they'll just try to finish on a high note for Gavin Cooper. Broncos will be trying to do the same for Darius Boyd when he plays his last game as well. So, Cowboys for me could be a high-scoring contest because their defense is weak on both sides, and I'm looking Cowboys by 8. Let's go with that. Cowboys by 8. Got the Gold Coast Titans taking on the Newcastle Knights on Friday night. Brian Kelly will return in the centres. Tremaine Spryer will move to the wing, and Corey Thompson has been dropped for this game. I know he did something to his hamstring, so it'll kind of give him time to recover that. Now for the Knights, Edric Lee and Bradman Best will make the long-awaited return to the backline. Now Star Toa and Gehamat Shibasaki will drop out of that side. Kurt Mann will return from suspension at hooker. Chris Randall will go to the bench, and Phoenix Crossan is out of the side. Cerny Matalia will start in the back row with Lachlan Fitzgibbon injured. Just tweaked his hamstring there a little bit as well. And Brody Jones will take that last spot on the bench. This is going to be quite the mouth-watering clash. I want to see Titans go and win that 5th game in a row. I'm probably going to go Titans this game. I'm going to go Titans by 6. Don't think it'll be a blowout, but I do think it'll be a close game. I've got the Rabbitohs coming up against the Roosters, one of my favourite rivalries in rugby league. For the Rabbitohs, Dane Gagai will return from suspension and take the spot of Stephen Masters. Jed Cartwright will start in the second row for Jaden Sewer, who's been suspended for that high shot. And Patrick Margot has been recalled onto the bench. For the Roosters, they'll get James Tedesco, Jake Friend, Boyd Cordner, and Siosiwa Takiaho returning after being rested last week. Joey Manu, Lindsay Collins, and Isaac Liu will be the guys that will be getting arrested for this week. Freddie Glassick will be dropping to the reserves due to the return of Jake Friend. Angus Crichton will switch to lock, and Lachlan Lamb will take that spot on the bench in place of Drew Hutchinson. I can't go past the Roosters. I thought with the way Rabbitohs played last week was very sloppy, and to have to back it up against a side like the Roosters is going to be very tough. And I think it'll be Roosters by 14. Roosters by 14 over Souths. Now, the mighty Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs will be taking on the Penrith Panthers, the last game of the year for the Bulldogs. No changes here. Josh Jackson and Chris Smith will be switching between second row and lock. For the Panthers have chosen to rest Dylan Edwards, Viliami Kikau, and Stephen Crichton for that last game of the round. Charlie Staines, from what I can see, will be playing fullback, although I do believe it'll be Dane Laurie. Tyrone May will be in the centres, and Kurt Caprell will start in the second row. James Tamo will come back, as well as Api Coruscant. Moses Leota will drop to the bench, and Kenny will go to the reserves. Matt Burden and Zane Tadavano will be the men on the bench, with Jack Hetherington dropping out of the side. It's the last game of the year when they're back to Bulldogs. I thought the way they played last week was very good. And if they can get that momentum and that roll on in the beginning and turn up for each other in defence, I think we do have a shot against the Panthers. I know it sounds pretty ridiculous, but it would be good for the Bulldogs to break that streak. So, yeah, they're going to go Dogs, and they're going to go Dogs by 4 or 6 as well for that game. You got the Sharks taking on the Canberra Raiders. Wade Graham will go into the halves for the first time in 5 years, with Sean Johnson, as I said, doing his Achilles. Nene McDonald will take the spot of Sione Katoa on the wing. Moreni Hiroti will take the spot of Josh Dugan, who has injured his knee. And Teague Wilton will take the spot of Royce Hunt, who has done his patella tendon as well. For the Raiders, huge changes here, guys. Adam Cook is taking the spot of Charles Nickel Clockstad, who's been rested. Harley Smith-Shields and Matt Tomoko are the new centres, with Jared Croker and Jordan Rapana being rested this week. Matt Frawley and Sam Williams are the new halves partners, with Jack Wyden and George Williams being rested. John Bateman and Elian Whitehead are being rested as well. So Hudson Young and Koi Haruironara will be the new back row starting in the back row, Josh Papali and Joe Tarpanay will be rested as well. Again, a lot of rests. So Sia Soliola will return from that sickening facial injury at prop. Saliva Havili will go to lock, and Tom Starling will get his first start in the number 9 jumper for the Raiders. Kai O'Donnell and the new Dave Burden in Darby Medlin, as well as Jarrett Sablu, are the new names will be on the bench for the Raiders. Honestly, I'm probably going to have to go the Sharks in this one, considering that they've named a lot of a lot of juniors in this one and a lot of kids debuting. I think Sharks should be able to take them on. They're not resting many of their stars, so that'll be there for that one. They've got the West Tigers coming up against the Parramatta Eels. Luke Brooks will return in the halves. Josh Reynolds is out. Tommy Talau will take the spot of Joey Leilua, who's been dropped. Alex Twal, who was a late withdrawal due to illness, will turn out lock. Matt Eisenuth will go to the bench, and Tom McHale will start at prop for Josh Aloye. Luke Garner will start on the back row with Sam McIntyre out. And Elijah Taylor, Sean Blue, and Michael Cheekham will join the bench, with Packer and Jacob Little dropping out of the squad. And for the Eels, Junior Paulo and Sean Lane are back in the starting side, with Kane Evans and Andrew Davey going back onto the bench there. I want to go Parramatta, but I'm going to go the Tigers this week. It's Benji Marshall's last game for the Tigers, and potentially in the NRL as well. And for Chris Lawrence, it'll be his last game in the NRL as well. So two legends are retiring, and I'm sure the Tigers will want to turn up a beast performance for them. You've got the Warriors coming up against the Sea Eagles. Changes galore here as well. So Peter Hiku will drop to fullback as Roger Tuivasa-Sheck is out with a hamstring injury. Patrick Herbert will go onto the wing with Hayes Perham shifting to the centres. Isaiah Papali'i will start at prop with Tohu Harris at second row. And Elise Katoa will be at second row as well, with Jack Murchie moving to the bench. And Jermaine Tanua-Brown is back in the squad on the bench, with Tom Ayo and Josh Curran are the two men to drop out. For the Seagulls, Tom Trbojevic is out. Tavita Funa will go back to fullback, and Ruben Garrick is back on the wing. At best, Miski will start on the wing with Albert Hopewadi dropping onto the bench. Taniela Paseka will start at prop with Boyle reverting to the bench. Corey Waddell will start in the second row for his final game at the club before he heads to the Bulldogs. And Jack Kuchevsky is out this week. And Hamoli Olakuatu is the new face on the bench for the Sea Eagles. I'm going to go the Warriors this game. I'm sure they want to finish their year on a bit of a high. I know they're down a bit on troops, but I think they can get the job done, especially against the Sea Eagles side, who have just been underperforming this whole year. And the last game for the round, the Dragons taking on the Melbourne Storm. Changes galore for both sides. So for the Dragons, Jaden Sullivan will make his debut for the club in the halves alongside Adam Clune, with Ben Hunt suspended and Corey Norman dropped. Max Fearguy, who debuted off the bench last week, will start on the wing. Jordan Pereira is out, and Eddie Blacker. A lot of talks about this kid. He's going to get his debut on the bench. Ewan Aiken will go into the centres for Braden Williami. Now, Jacob Host is back in the second row. Tyreek Sims will be moved to the bench, and Toro Fuamono is out. And Blake Laurie will start this week with Kate Ellis being benched. And for Storm, just like Raiders, they've rested all their players. So Ryan Papenhuisen will return, taking the spot of Nico Hines, who goes to the bench. Josh Adokar, Suliasi Vunivalu have been rested, with Sandor L and Isaac Lumi playing on the wing. Brent Curley and Justin Olam are out as well, being rested. Ricky Lutelli will make his club debut, and Paul Momorowski will make his return from the injury. Now, Cameron Munster and Jerome Hughes are rested, with Riley Jackson, Cooper Johns being the new house partners. Cameron Smith, Jesse Bromwich, Tino Fa'asu Malawi, Felice Kafusi, Kenny Bromwich, and Nesson Osofa Solomona are all rested as well. So they've literally rested their whole team. Brendan Smith will start at hooker, with the returning Christian Welch and Tui Kamikamika starting at prop. Tom Eisenuth and Chris Lewis will form a new back row pairing, and Max King will be the new lock. And the men on the bench will be Darren Schoenig, Albert Vede, and Aaron Penne looking on the bench. Even though Storm have all these players missing, I'm still going to tip them to beat the Dragons, because the Dragons suck, in my opinion. And I do think that the Melbourne Storm can get the job done as long as Craig Bellamy is at the helm. I'm sure that they can still put in a decent performance. Guys, thank you so much for your time covering round 19 with me this week. Now, just so you guys are aware, as you guys know, we are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, and we are on different podcasting streams such as Spotify, Google Music, Apple Music, Google Play, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Alexa, and Stitcher. Now, guys, I do have a challenge for you guys this week. So, first challenge I'm going to issue out to you guys. You can either send it to me on Facebook or emailing me on leaguechatwiththestat@gmail.com. Send through who you'd name in your state of origin sides for New South Wales and Queensland, or it can be just for one of those teams. It's a new challenge I'm issuing out for you guys this week. If you can send them through to me, and then we can start talking about the state of origin just after the rounds have ended. So send me through your teams. I'll give you guys a bit of time to do that. Once you send them through, we can talk about it, and I can give you guys who I'm picking in my team for state of origin this year for New South Wales and for Queensland. Guys, again, thank you so much for joining me this week. Let's just hope that the Bulldogs don't get the wooden spoon. Enjoy round 20 as the final game of the regular season, and we'll see you guys next week previewing all things round 20. Have a good night, guys. Take care.